What's up, guys? My name is Rob, you're on Rule of Two Review, and today we're going to talk about that Sony Mario movie. So I thought this was pretty weird, yet really interesting news. According to a couple of leaked emails that have been coming out of Sony over the last couple of days, since a hack that happened to Sony and to their network about a week or two ago, there seems to be a Mario movie animated, potentially in the works, in accordance with Nintendo, and Sony would be the studio producing it. Yes, I know that sounds crazy at first, but what you have to remember is that not only is Sony a much bigger company than just the video game and PlayStation division, it also has a huge movie studio behind it. So Sony Movie Studios, which is currently most well known for the Spider-Man franchise, it's had it since the movie film versions have existed going back to the 2002 original Sam Raimi film with Tobey Maguire, for anyone who remembers that far back. I still love those first three movies, I don't care what anyone says. Granted, the third one was kind of a disaster in the last half hour, but up until then it was good, and the first two are amazing. So, you know, that is what Sony is known for. Amongst many other things, they make a lot of money from their movie studio division. It's one of the few divisions of Sony as a whole that does okay. It doesn't do as well as the PlayStation, and it's still not making gangbuster numbers or profits for them, but it does okay. It handles its own. And so it's recently come out, like I said, about a week or two ago, there was a hack to Sony and their against Sony and their servers and their information. Lots of information have been coming out, you know, stuff not even relating to PlayStation. I mean, it was not PlayStation that was hacked, it was Sony. So there's a lot of things going on there. One of the craziest pieces of news were a bunch of leaked emails from Sony movie producer Avi Arad, very well-known guy in the movie biz. And he was emailing with Satoru Iwata, believe it or not. Apparently had also met with him and Miyamoto in the past. And he was emailing some of the other high-up executives amongst Sony in the movie studio about the fact that he has all but a confirmation and an agreement being done with Nintendo to produce an animated Super Mario movie. So while at first that seems crazy because Sony is also known for the PlayStation, which is a direct competitor with Nintendo in the gaming space, again, the movie studio is all but a separate entity. Avi Arad and Amy Pascal and the other folks involved with this potential Super Mario movie have literally nothing to do with the PlayStation. Nintendo obviously knows that. And however these conversations have been happening, if they really prove to be true, which so far all sources seem to indicate that this is really true. However this whole thing has been playing out, if this really proves to be true, then that's what we're going to get. I mean, let's not even forget that the first crazy thing here is another Mario movie, another attempt at a Mario movie. Of course, most of us are familiar with the 1993 train wreck that was the Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo Super Mario Brothers movie, which I admit, at the time when I saw it as a 12, 13-year-old kid, I loved it because it was like Super Mario on the big screen, and I just thought it was the shit. I loved it to death just because. Obviously now, with a much older, wiser, keener eye, I can look at it and say, wow, that's a pile of dog shit, and that's too bad. It's really fun to watch with your friends, don't get me wrong, but it is not a good movie in any sense. It was a total bastardization of everything that made the Mario games and universe really great, so that's kind of a weird thing there. And so here we are, you know, it's been known for so long that Nintendo was like, we will never let that happen again. We will never do another movie. But if this proves true, then they are letting someone make another Mario movie. And that's a really bold thing for Nintendo, especially nowadays, where they hold their properties and everything so close to them, and they don't want to let it go into, you know, unknown hands and unknown territory. So it's really cool that they might be being so bold as to let this happen. Obviously, there's a pretty clear vision that has been presented to them by Sony and Avi Arad on how to do this. Again, animated is the other key word, and I think that a lot of people seem to have a lot of different opinions on this. There's a few people who are like, boo, I want it to be a live action, yada yada. And then there's a lot of people who are like, well, animated is great, that's what it should be. And now I would like to see another attempt at a live action movie for the experiment, but I have to agree that at the end of the day, I definitely think that animated is the best route to take a Super Mario Brothers movie. It gives you so much more creative freedom to play with the world and the goofiness and the idea behind everything that is Super Mario Brothers and just Mario as a character and Bowser and Peach and Luigi and all that stuff. That's just kind of, I think, how it needs to be. If it has like a Pixar level of quality, or even Wreck-It Ralph, which is a very recent, easy film to compare this to, I think that it could work out perfectly. If it borrows from that kind of humor, maybe even some of the Lego movie humor with how it's pretty witty and clever and geared sort of towards adults, that's the best way to go about this, I think. And there's a lot of potential there. So it's crazy that Sony would be the studio potentially doing this. But again, we're not really dealing with competitors here. We're dealing with a larger electronics company who also has a movie studio that's going to make a video game adaptation from the video game studio that happens to be Nintendo, but there's no real sort of selling of souls or compromising the integrity of any one company because they're working together and they're both going to make money off of this. It is really weird and kooky and crazy, and only in today's world would this be able to happen, but it's not what it first seems, and so I think it's going to be pretty cool. We also can't forget that Sony is going to be producing the Console Wars movie in the next year or two, which I actually just recently picked up and started that book that the film is going to be based on, chronicling the 90s console war between Nintendo and Sega, which was a wonderful time in gaming, and all of you young gamers out there who didn't get to live through that have no idea what you missed. You will never understand games and gaming the way those of us who lived through that really, really do. It was a great time, and I think that movie's going to be great. And again, that's Nintendo and Sega both being made into a film by Sony. So there's a lot of crazy things happening there. I think that excuse me. I think that an animated Mario movie is going to be great. I think that they're going to do a really good job with it. It's not quite to the 100% confirmed status yet, but again, it's all but confirmed. It seems like it is going to happen. We'll have to wait another couple days and see what goes down there, but seems to me that that's going to be the plan, and we're going to get an animated Super Mario Brothers movie. Who ever thought that that could be possible? Anywho, that's it for today, so thanks for tuning in for my quick update on this brand new Super Mario Brothers movie that's probably quite a few years away, but it'll be really interesting to see how this whole thing plays out. What is it you guys think? Is this good news or bad news? Do you love it? Do you hate it? I always want to hear from you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Subscribe to Rule of Two Review if you haven't already. Leave your comments and your thoughts about this whole crazy thing below. Thanks for tuning in. I will catch you guys on the next video.